Today on the program, Renault presents the Clio in its most economical version possible. Stellantis is saying a final goodbye to the PureTech engine, replacing it with Fiat engines. Tesla has just doubled the price of charging in France, and the Renault 5 that we were all waiting for has just been unveiled. Take a good look at the world around us. The Middle East is in turmoil. Fuel prices at the pump now require you to sell your organs, or at least a medium-sized child. And every time you start your car, a polar bear judges you harshly. In this absolute chaos, you might expect salvation to come from an overpriced electric hypercar designed by a megalomaniac billionaire. But no, the messiah of the modern automobile comes to us from Renault. And it's a Clio. A Renault Clio, but not just any Clio. Forget about complex hybrids. The Diamond brand has just pulled out of its hat the Clio 6 equipped with the 1.2 L Eco G 120 engine. Behind this name, which sounds like a washing machine program, actually hides the ultimate weapon against financial ruin. Under the hood, there's a small 3-cylinder turbo engine that produces 120 horsepower and 200 Nm of torque. It's not enough to tear up the asphalt, of course, but it has a secret. It runs on gasoline, of course, but it also uses LPG. This fuel, which we thought was only for old Ladas and stingy uncles, is making a triumphant comeback. Why? Because as I speak to you, a liter of unleaded is flirting with €2 or even more. LPG, on the other hand, is around €1 per liter. And Renault didn't do things halfway. They took out the spare tire and replaced it with a huge 50-liter LPG tank. Add to that the standard 39-liter gasoline tank, and you get a combined range of 1,450 kilometers. But the best is yet to come. This LPG version in Evolution trim with its dual-clutch automatic gearbox is priced at €21,900. And for this version, the government doesn't charge a single cent in penalties. So yes, it does consume a bit more when running on gas, about 6.5 liters per 100 kilometer compared to 5.4 on gasoline, but with the price per liter being half as much, the math is undeniable. In summary, in a world that's gone completely crazy, where we're being pushed to buy 2-ton electric SUVs for €50,000 to save the planet, Renault offers us a brilliant little city car, automatic, which costs €21,900, is exempt from taxes, and you can put fuel in it, which today costs the same as unleaded did in 1998. At Stellantis, despite a return to profit in the first quarter, industrial cash flow remained in the red at €1.9 billion. That's the kind of hole in the coffers that keeps you up at night. And the new boss, Antonio Filosa, has the heavy task of steering this ship back on course before it hits the iceberg. On May 21st, during Investor Day, he'll have to present a rescue plan. But behind the scenes, the real revolution has already begun, and it has a name that's going to make people on this side of the Alps grind their teeth. For years, if you bought a Peugeot, a Citroën, an Opel, a Jeep, or an Alfa Romeo, there was a good chance you'd end up with a 1.2 PureTech engine under the hood. On paper, it was the flagship of French engineering. In reality, it was a ticking time bomb, a timing belt soaked in oil, disintegrating, clogging the lubrication system, and eventually turning your engine into an expensive piece of contemporary art. Stellantis spent years patching up the problems, extending warranties, and modifying parts. But the damage is done. The reputation of the PureTech is ruined. So what is Stellantis' miracle solution to salvage what it can and tackle the terrifying Euro 7 standard that's looming at the end of 2026? It's very simple. They're going to throw the PureTech into the dustbin of history. And what will they replace it with? With Italian engines, more precisely Fiat engines. Today, it's the Fiat GSE engines, also known as Firefly, that are stepping in as the saviors. You should know that in Brazil, Fiat sells hundreds of thousands of cars equipped with these engines every year. They are robust, they have a timing chain, and they are reliable. The 1.3 and 1.5 GSE will be modernized, turbocharged, hybridized with a new electrified gearbox, and fitted under the hood of your future European cars. Of course, this won't happen overnight, but as soon as a model is replaced or thoroughly redesigned, like the future Alfa Romeo Jr. or the upcoming Peugeots, The pure tech will quietly be shown to the exit. Then, if you own an electric car, you've probably spent the last few years strutting past gas stations, wearing that smug little smile of someone who thinks they've figured out the meaning of life. You thought electricity was the people's energy, cheap, clean, and abundant. And above all, if you were driving a Tesla, you thought the supercharger network was your sanctuary, a haven of peace where charging cost less than a pack of peanuts. Well, I have bad news for you. Elon Musk just woke up and apparently decided he wants to buy himself a new rocket. Without any announcement, without even a grandiose tweet, Tesla has just doubled the price of charging at its superchargers in France. Let me give you a concrete example. If you have the misfortune of wanting to charge your car in the middle of the day, Tesla will charge you a whopping 74 cents per kilowatt hour at certain stations, compared to about 30 cents before. Remember, Tesla supercharger prices vary by station and time of day. At noon, it gets close to 80 cents, while others at the same time of day jump to around 45 cents. Yet, for years, Tesla's network was the ultimate selling point. More than 80,000 charging points worldwide, unbeatable reliability, and prices that made the competition look like thieves. But today, things have changed. Prices are soaring, and finding a station for less than 60 cents during the day is quite a feat. So what should you do? Well, Tesla, in its great wisdom, offers you a solution, a subscription. For 11.99 euros a month, you can buy the right to pay less. With this subscription, you get a discount of about 30 cents, which brings the price down to around 50 cents per kilowatt hour during peak hours. And if you're the insomniac type, nighttime charging drops to 20 or even 25 cents. Whether these prices will decrease or keep rising remains to be seen. And finally, since Renault decided to bring back the legendary R5 as an all-electric model, the automotive world is in a frenzy. It's cute, it's colorful, it has a little retro touch that melts the hearts of nostalgia lovers. But let's be honest for a second, something was missing. A little touch of madness. So Renault had decided that if you wanted a sporty R5, you had to break the bank and buy the Alpine A290 for 40,000 euros. But what was missing was an affordable sporty version between the overpriced A290 and the tamer versions. Fortunately, a Dutch company called Revolve looked at the R5 and said, "We can do better." And they did. It's probably the Renault 5 we were all waiting for. They created what they call the Renault 5 E-Tech Rally, and it's an absolute masterpiece of simplicity. Forget the oversized wings and the ridiculous aerodynamic appendages. Revolve took a standard R5 and injected it with a good dose of charisma. First, they lowered the chassis by 25 mm, then they widened the track by 20 mm. Add to that a few subtle details like a glossy black stripe at the front and rear. And rally badges, but the stroke of genius is the wheels. They ditched the complicated alloy wheels and replaced them with gorgeous 18-inch white steel wheels. Steel wheels like on the 205 Rally from the Golden Era, for example. However, don't expect a combustion engine or even a weight reduction. They haven't touched the engine. The electric propulsion system remains completely stock. That means you can apply this kit to any version of the R5 E-Tech. So how much does it cost? Revolve hasn't released the official price of the Rally kit yet. But if we base it on their previous creation, the R5 Blue Door, inspired by the legendary Clio Williams, you should expect to pay about 6,000 to 8,000 euros more than the base car's price, so roughly 30,000 euros in total. It's a significant amount, of course, but considering the Alpine A290 is priced in the stratosphere, this R5 Rally suddenly becomes a good alternative. Unfortunately, for this price and with this look, you would expect a small fiery combustion engine and a lightweight. Thank you all for watching this new video. Don't hesitate to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to make sure you don't miss anything. See you.